Hello and welcome. My name is Jim Betancourt, and I'm a 25-year veteran umpire and your host for another amazing edition of the Umpires in Black and White podcast. Welcome back. Let's get started with part 2 of episode 1, moving up levels in umpiring with Mr. Eric Nakagawa, Mr. Colin Brown, and Mr. Travis Witt.
I wanted to give a quick shout out to my coworkers. I'm about 8 months till I retire, but there's no way I could have done my umpiring at all, my college umpiring, without my coworkers. They knew what I was getting into, and unfortunately at my job, there's a lot of built-in overtime, and I mean a lot. So there's no way I could have maneuvered around that, because you get forced on overtime and things like that, and work days that you don't want to work. And, you know, my schedule comes out in advance prior to the season starting. And so I just gave them the dates that I wasn't going to be available to work overtime, and they really picked up the slack at work. So there's no way that I could have done that doing my job without their cooperation. So quick shout out to my all my coworkers who've helped me do this crazy profession.
That is awesome. I understand it. The personalized, our personal lives and every umpire's personal lives are impacted by what we do, good, bad, and otherwise. And we all are able to be at the game at half an hour early because of people in our lives making things easier for us to be able to do those types of stuff. And to be gone for 5 hours before we get home. And it's built into the occupation. As you said, not many people understand that, oh, you just umpire the baseball game. Well, no, it's generally for us, it's a hour before the game. You have to arrive. It's travel time to get there. Then after you get there, the pregame, talking to your partner, getting prepared, and working the game itself. And then after the game, do a post game with your partner, discuss the kick play at second base, and then go to the bar for 3 hours and have 8 beers. No, I'm just kidding. You only have 5 beers. But anyway, it takes hours out of your day, and that's away from your family life and the people you love and care about you. So it's an ultimate sacrifice we make as umpires. And we're so underappreciated for that one factor alone. And people need to understand that. And I hope I got that message across tonight. You get a great thank you, help your workers, co-workers. That takes me right into the next question. Who influenced you the most? If your coworkers helped you get there, who was the biggest person who influenced you personally and helped you move up in baseball umpiring?
For me, it was the first person who actually believed in me and in my abilities was Greg Charles out of the Bay Area. He's a College World Series umpire, and he came to evaluate at the camp that I was at, and he put the bug in Ted Kovac's ear. And obviously Travis and I and Eric and I all have that guy in common. And that's how I got my college baseball start. And fortunately, we have been absolutely blessed with some incredible mentors. In camp, a lot of unexpected things happen at camp. And what I mean by that is that, especially when you've never been, you don't know what to expect. I didn't talk to anybody prior to me going to camp, so I had no clue what to expect. And I really got to network with people like who was running the camp at the time, Billy Hayes. He's a 2-time College World Series umpire. And so I got to network with him. I got to network with, again, Greg Charles. I got to meet some great mentors. Scott Jones. I got to Jeff Hendricks, 8-time College World Series umpire. And all of these people were so giving of their time. I mean, they would hand you as long as you were an umpire, they hand you their telephone number and say, call me anytime. I mean, literally anytime. And to have those resources, in your back pocket is unbelievable. And it's amazing to me. And in talking to some of them, how many people do not take advantage of that? But I did. And I called them and got some great advice when I needed it. And it's been those guys, those influencers that were there at the camps that I went to. And mind you, there's camps all over the United States. I just, for me and for particularly money reasons alone, I stayed local. But having those mentors really means a lot.
Excellent. Thank you, Colin. Travis, enlighten us.
Oh, geez. It is hard to narrow it down to one person. I mean, Colin listed off a bunch of names, and those are great guys.
Name dropper.
Well, I was going to say the same thing.
Man, I really despise those people that do name dropping. No, no, those guys had a big factor in me as well, talking to those guys. But the one person that really stood out whenever I first started going to camps, whenever I started back up, is the now Division II Director of Umpires, John Brower. I met him many moons ago doing the camp in Springfield, Missouri, nonetheless. Whenever I met John, he was very, very welcoming. We would sit down at the local establishment after the camps and after the sessions, and he talked to me for hours on end. And from that point on, I basically was glued to his hip. If I wasn't on the field, I was sitting in the press box with him, or I was sitting on the grass next to him, or sitting in the dugout next to him, just talking to him, bending his ear. He basically would just spit out the information without me even asking a question. He'd be like, "Hey, look, did you see that? What do you think?" And he goes, "Well, go try it, do it this way." So John Brower was one of those guys. And then Jeff Hendricks was another guy who I met just right after John Brower at the same camps that I was doing back in the Midwest. He's the one that called Teddy and said, "Hey, I got this guy from the Midwest out here. I don't know why he's here. You guys got camps?" And I'm all like, "They do." And so he was like, he's the one that turned me on to the local camps. And then from there on out, I was back and forth for a while. So yeah, I really got to thank John Brower. And I mean, one of John Brower's biggest things, whenever we do see each other, and we saw each other in Phoenix a few years ago, he likes to kid around with me and give me grief about things. But he's all like, "Yeah, whenever I met this kid right here," and I'm not a kid, I'm 50 years old. And I mean, at the time I was like 40, 46.
He was talking
45,
about
46.
umpire years.
Right, exactly. And he's like, this guy couldn't even spell the word umpire type thing. And so I'm all like, yeah, true. I umpired for years before that, but yeah, I still couldn't spell it.
Thank you, Travis. Eric.
Yes, we spent a lot of time talking about mentors, and I share some of the same mentors as both Colin and Travis. but also a couple of things that worked out for me. I had a couple of signers that really liked me, even when I was just starting out. They saw some potential there and they encouraged me. And I know they made some phone calls. So there's some comments I get from other places where I was trying to, hook on with different associations. And yeah, I know where that quote came from because the guy said it directly to my face. So there's a big thank yous to them. But also what flutes me is just being around meeting my peers. I mean, two of my best friends are here. We're all umpires. We're all trying to move up together. We encourage each other. We help each other out. Hey, I'm having a rough time with a low inside striker. What do you guys think? Well, they both have advice. Hey, I think you were doing this. See if we can fix that. Okay, great. So we can not only try to critique ourselves, but we critique each other and help each other get better. That's one thing that, your peers are also can be very helpful in helping you move up. So you want to hang out with good people, and try to be a good person. Because if you're a crusty, what did Gabe Calvin call it? Turd in the punch bowl. Yeah, no one wants to help. They're not going to do anything to help you. All right, there'd be what we call it in terms of the post game is the guy's a trunk slammer. He's already had enough of you. He's going to go home. No, you don't want to be that guy. So, I think we're finding some good group of people to help each other, encourage each other. Makes all the difference.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I started umpiring, I think, of my early 40s. Colin, you said you were 18, did the first games?
I was about 20.
Travis?
I was 19 years old.
Eric?
See, Travis truly is the baby of our group.
Yeah, right?
Yep.
As I say, when I started doing the Little League games, I was 42.
42. And I think the message, as you guys have stated, it's camaraderie and connecting with the right people that have the ability to guide you and help you improve and watch you work and mentor you. And you get the wrong mentor, you're going to be staying in the same spot for a long time. Is there's lots of umpires call themselves mentors, and they do a really there's good mentors and there's bad mentors. Now I was 45. I started working the Sacramento Association when I was early 50s, I think, and that's some really fantastic mentors for myself. Smiley, Bill Swanson, and Rob Guerrero. There's 3 or 4 other guys on the top of my head, but it was my first experience with having a large group with multiple excellent individuals to pull from information. And it was like, I felt like I had been reborn because areas I'd worked at for 20 years prior, that type of brotherhood didn't exist. That type of training wasn't there. So when you're in small rural areas, you don't have access to the same things you fellas had in the Bay Area. Yeah, and be welcome with open arms. It just makes your game improve on the field and just get much better that way. So, and the final topic I want to do quickly, because I know Travis has to run, but please share some information about the Strike 3 podcast you gentlemen put on.
Well, it's funny how that started. So during COVID, we had to switch. My work situation was we had 4 different shifts. We were all working 12-hour days, and that's what our normal shift is. And so the communications manager at the time says, you know what we're going to do is we're going to work 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off. That way, if somebody happens to get it, they have time to recover. It's like, okay. So we started doing that. And my second set of 2 weeks off, I really started listening to podcasts quite a bit. And I started listening to my favorite comedian, Bert Kreischer. And he actually, and they were putting out just a ton of content at that time. And he says, if you guys want to know how to start your own podcast, contact me. So I was thinking, and I'd been thinking about, it's like, well, there's all these podcasts out there, but there's nothing about college umpiring. In fact, there's nothing about little league umpiring. There's very little umpiring or sports officiating types of podcasts geared towards that. And I really looked, and there was absolutely none about college baseball umpiring. And so I contacted him. His wife got back to me, and it was relatively inexpensive to start out. I just got a really inexpensive microphone. There was a free platform that I could join, and that's how it all got started. And then I was going to do it by myself, but I was thinking, wait a minute, why not start it with two of my best friends? Why not do this together? And so I contacted Eric and Travis. I said, hey, I got this idea. You guys want to do it with me? And without hesitation, they're like, hell yeah. And because of our contacts and the networking that we've done through camps and everything like that, when we started out, I really listened to other people's podcasts, how they started, how to edit and everything like that. And it was very crude in the beginning for sure, but it was fun. And we got some really top tier people. We got the Division 1, 2, 3 coordinators of umpires, like on our first few shows. And then of course we had Billy Hayes, we had Jeff Hendricks, we had at the time the Division 2 coordinator was Scott Taylor, who's a friend of the show and helped us out tremendously with their time. And everybody that we've contacted has been more than generous with their time and more than willing to come on. And we've had some great guests. We've talked about physical fitness. We've talked about the mental side of the game. We've talked about how to be a good crew chief. And it was just a blast. And it was easy in the beginning because we all had just a ton of time on our hands. And but as time has progressed, it's gotten a little bit more difficult. Both Eric and Travis have moved from the Bay Area to different parts of the state. Travis moved out of state. And so we all started this with Zoom to begin with. And it's just been, it has progressed since then. And only recently have we started with video. And that's and it's been a great success. And it's just been a lot of fun to talk baseball with other people that have the same exact passion that you do for it. And that's especially when it comes to umpiring. I mean, me and Travis and Eric, we would go after games and we'd grab a bite to eat and we'd talk and we'd critique each other and everything. And it's just been a great ride. It's been a fantastic ride. And there's much more to do in regards to this. And I'm hoping that eventually it really, really catches on and our sphere of influence grows.
I got nothing but kudos for you guys for being that dedicated. In fact, I also know that Eric does his training for these umpires that work for him. Eric's a signer as well. How many umpires do you assign for, Eric?
Professional officiating's roster is 240. Some are, they'll work once a year, maybe twice every other year. But we assign umpires from Eureka down to Bakersfield and east to west as well. So it's a pretty large geographical footprint.
And you run that Zoom call meeting preseason for college and NAIO. I'm butchering
NAIA.
NCAA, NAIA, and we do cover some of the high school stuff too, because a lot of the umpires work multiple levels, and we're trying to help people keep the rule sets straight. Know what field you're on, what rule set applies. We try with that.
That's a full-time job, and I have to comment. I sat in on a couple of those sessions where you were going over the rule tests and the difficulty factors. It's a component that we really didn't get into, the difficulty factors of the rules of baseball. and how challenging they are. And to go sit in on a call with 90 other officials working higher level baseball and hear the banter back and forth on rule interpretations about the same rule. And there's multiple interpretations of that rule. And that's something that is due to the complexity of the rule, number one. And number two, the language in the rule book is so arbitrary at times, it confounds everybody. And I think it's something you do a great service by presenting that opportunity to talk about it between experts, baseball rule experts. You guys have spent out thousands of hours collectively, tens of thousands of hours collectively, just on the rules. And for you to take the care and the time to bring everybody together to get even better is another side of umpiring that isn't known or discussed, or they just look at the guy out there in the field and go, oh yeah, he's the umpire. There's so much behind the mask of what we do, and it's not talked about enough. It's not appreciated enough. And that's one of the goals and objectives of the Umpires in Black and White podcast. We need to bring that side out. The message that who we are as people is just as important, more important, as being an umpire. And we have the commitment, though. We are individuals who are committed to becoming better at our craft, to keep learning and helping each other. That's the other component. It's huge. How many professions do people continually help each other on an ongoing basis at work? I think we have really an exclusive benefit that we do that, and it's pretty awesome. And you guys are awesome. I want to thank you for coming on the show today. I know that you gave a lot of information out there, and hopefully the listeners will look at this and enjoy it as much as I did listening to it. And I hope you guys did as well. And you have any closing comments before we shut down the show?
Jim, I want to say thanks for inviting us. You're also one of the friends of our program. You've been on as a guest before. Many hours you say we spend looking at rules, I will say, baseball rules in black and white, it's sometimes the cheat code to find out where that rule is and what the different references are to that. It's one ruling, what did that play, what are the things that apply to it. So I want to thank you for doing that and having us, and had a great time at the ABCA a couple of years ago, even though it was minus 15 out, but
Travis.
Oh, thanks again for allowing us to come on to your platform, cross over a little bit, and just again, we're all working together on the field, off the field, and we're trying to get better and do what we can to better the game of baseball for the kids coming up and for the kids that are doing the game at this point. And even though they don't look at us like that, I mean, we are human beings, and we do make mistakes. It's just all right, accept it and kind of move on type thing. So again, appreciate you having us on, and thank you for being on our show. And so I wish you the best of luck with this platform.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Great. Colin.
Yeah, for sure, Jim. Thank you so much for, again, I share the sentiment of Eric and Travis. Thanks for having us on. Really appreciate it. Thanks for enduring what you have with baseball rules in black and white. I remember when the book first came out to, where you're at now has been a large and arduous task. But you've kept your nose to the grindstone and keeping the simple explanation for things versus the complex. And so that makes a huge difference. So thanks again for having us on your show. Thanks for doing what you do with Baseball Rules in Black and White. And I look forward to seeing other guests that you're going to have on your podcast.
Well, thank you very much. In fact, coming up, we've got Lisa Malik and her son, Kenny. They're umpires in the Midwest, a mother and a teenage son. I'm just really excited to have them on the show. Billy Hayes is going to be on the show. A friend of mine out of Sacramento, you fellows might know too, is Mark Snyder. Worked all kinds of baseball, softball. I've got Duke Baxter. He's was a professional baseball player. He's a coach, and he now runs clinics for coaches all around the country. So we're going to get a broad spectrum of guests to provide a broad spectrum of perspectives. And I think that this is the same for you guys. I hope you guys the best with your podcast too, and really can't thank you enough for being our guest on this debut episode of Umpires in Black and White podcast. This podcast is brought to you by the #1 rated Baseball Rules in Black and White app. It's the only Baseball Rules app with videos, multiple rule sets, simplified rule language, and the best part, it's extremely affordable. Download it today or learn more at baseballrulesinblackandwhite.com. That wraps up another fun-filled edition of the Umpires in Black and White podcast. You can watch or share this amazing episode again on our Baseball Rules in Black and White YouTube channel or go to baseballrulesinblackandwhite.com. Thanks for watching and see you next time.